What's going on, y'all? 50 Joe coming at you with a quick video here. Recently talked about the importance of sighting in with the duty/carry ammunition you're going to have in a weapon when you're using it, when you're using an optic on a pistol, or even applies to rifles as well. Today, that leads me to talk about what is zeroing. When you talk about zeroing a weapon, zeroing an optic, what does that mean and how should I do it? What's the best way, best distance? I'm just going to share a couple things that I do, things that have worked for me in the past. Maybe they can work for you as well. So when we're going to talk about zeroing, we have a pistol like this Glock 45 here that has a red dot mounted to it. Inside this is a red dot sighting system, right? So now that red dot, I have to coincide that red dot to where the bullets are impacting on the target so the two match up. So I want to be accurate with it, right? So where the red dot is, that's where the bullets are going to go. On here, you'll see I got adjustments for up and down on this turret and adjustments for left and right on this turret. So once I get a red dot, I mount it to the specifications by the manufacturer. I use blue Loctite on the screws, get everything secure. I'll do some, see if you can get them here, some proof marks right there. You see those two dots here, the proof marks on the screws, so I can tell if they start backing out, start getting loose. Once that's all said and done, now it's time to go to the range and zero the weapon. Typically with pistols, I sight red dot pistols in at 25 yards. Reason being, that's a common distance I have to shoot from when qualifying. And it's worked for me, and typically that's what I use for pistols. For rifles, I'll do 100 yard zero. If it's a rifle caliber, shoulder fired. If it's shoulder fired and chambered in a pistol caliber, I sight those in at 50 yards. That's what's worked for me. So with that, we use a zeroing target, right? So we go to the range, we're going to set out our target, and we're going to start to find out where these rounds are impacting on this piece of paper. I'll take this and I'll set the target at 25 yards. I go back to my bench rest. When I'm at my bench rest, I'll use a sandbag. I shoot from a sandbag and will anchor the pistol into the sandbag rest like this to help eliminate human error while I'm sighting it in, right? So typically when you sight in, you want to shoot 3 to 5 shots in a group and get your data from that and make your adjustments. As you can see here on this target, I set out 25 yards. Every time I aim, this 2-inch circle in the middle is going to be my aiming point. So every time I aim, my dot is going to be the center of this 2-inch circle right here. I'm never going to change that. With that, on my dot, I want it to be at its lowest setting where I could still see it fairly well, but I want it to be dim. I don't want the optic to be at its brightest setting and star bursting inside the optic, covering up the whole entire target. I won't be able to see what I'm aiming at and won't be able to get a tight zero. So make sure your optic's at its dimmest setting, but you can still see it fairly well. You're going to hold that dot in the center of the 2-inch circle every time you shoot, and then you're going to make your adjustments off the data you get from where the rounds impact on the target. So as you see here on this target here, we got set up. This is my first shot group. 4 rounds here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I see that I'm aiming here, but my round's impacting here. What I want to do is I want to move this group of holes to the center of the dot. I don't want to go from here to where the holes are going. That's backwards. So when we're sighting in, we're going to move our group pattern to the center of where we're aiming at. That's where we're making our adjustments. So from here, I'm going to want to adjust up and to the right in order to try to get it to the center of the bullseye that I'm aiming for. Notice here, bottom right, this is what we call a flyer. So here, 1, 2, 3, that's my group. That's my shot group. I'm going to base my adjustments, base my data off this. This is a flinch. This is a not following a fundamental, jerk, pull the trigger, squeeze the trigger wrong. And anyway, I made this happen. This was obviously human error, not part of my group. I'm not going to pay attention to this. Flyers happen. Don't let them interfere with the data you're trying to collect. So this is my data. Make my adjustments. I'm going to go up. I'm going to go to the right. So I do that, and here's my second shot group. I fire 3 rounds here. 1, 2, 3. That's my second shot group. Now I see I'm hitting a little bit high where I'm aiming at. My aiming point's still here in the center, but now I'm hitting a little bit high. So I see that data. I make the adjustments. I move down 3 inches. And in doing so, to do that, on this optic, it's a 1 MOA click adjustment at 100 yards, which means every click of the turret at 100 yards, 1 click moves bullet impact 1 inch. So at 25 yards, 1 click of the turret is going to move bullet impact 1/4 of an inch. So in order to move 3 inches down to where the bullseye is, I'm going to have to move 12 clicks down in order to try to achieve that. So I make that adjustment. I'll show you the adjustments on this optic. That's why it's really important to look at your owner's manual and see what your optic is zeroed in MOA-wise, and you can make the proper adjustment so you're not out there just clicking away, hoping and praying. But so once I make that adjustment, move down 3 MOA, it's going to move my bullet impact to here, which is the final 0, 3. This is my third shot group. 5 shots, all in the center, bullseye where I want to be. Now, I see that. I'm happy with that. That's good to go. This is where I'm going to switch to my duty/carry ammo, Hornady Critical Duty. I'm going to do the same thing again on a clean target and make the proper adjustments for that type of round to make sure I'm still hitting bullseye at 25 yards. And once I'm sighted in, I'm good to go. Now, some things to consider. This is a 25-yard zero, right? This may not work for everybody, and that's fine. You need to zero your weapon to where you can consistently shoot a group, okay? So like this right here, shot group number 1. This is a group, okay? Tight, nice together, and somewhat in the same area. If I got, if I'm going to shoot and try to sight in, I got bullet impact here, bullet impact here, bullet impact here, that's not a group. That's me not doing the fundamentals, not keeping the gun steady enough to be able to get the data I need to make the adjustment. So you got to be able to shoot a group. So if you're a 7-yard shooter, and that's where you can maintain and keep a tight group pattern to be able to collect that data, then you may need to go with a 7-yard zero at the time to order to get the data you need to make the adjustments you need. So at least you have that weapon sighted at 7 yards. If you can do it, a good all-purpose distance for zeroing is 10 yards. If you can get a 10-yard shot group to be able to make data adjustments and then make the zero at 10 yards, from anywhere from 1 to 25 yards, you're going to be within the chest size of a torso target. So at 25 yards with a 10-yard zero, your bullet shift is going to be approximately 1 inch, not making a huge difference, right? Still going to be in there, still going to be a good shot and be able to do what you need to do. So keep that in consideration when you're trying to zero a weapon. If you're not a confident or you don't have your levels up yet to be shooting groups at 25 yards, go the distance you can shoot groups at and get your data from there. It may not be one at the time, but it's something you can work on in the future. So keep that in consideration. Another thing, too, to consider is if you are sighting in the weapon and you shoot your first shot group here and you see, okay, I'm going low left, I need to make adjustments up and to the right. Once I make those clicks on the turret going up into the right, I shoot another group and I see that shot group just moves over here or barely moves at all. If it doesn't go the direction I move the turrets in, I may have a turret issue with the optic. So that could be something that's wrong with the optic itself that you'd have to send it back to the manufacturer. Sometimes, not all the times, but again, what I talked about earlier, if you don't go by the manufacturer specification when you install these things and you over tighten the screws, these two right here, if you over tighten these screws right here, sometimes when you do that, you crush the internals of the optic and you make it to where the turret system can't operate properly and you can mess up being able to make adjustments. So that's why it's really important to see what the specifications are for mounting optic. So that in itself is how I typically zero a pistol. And I appreciate y'all watching. And as always, stay safe. This is 50 Joe out.